Google, stop. Hey, Google, stop. Isn't technology just the greatest thing, guys? Um, I'm still floored and amazed at this Google Nest. Thank you to my friend Chris for giving me this, by the way. I was never a whole AI kind of like, I don't use Siri, I don't use Alexa. I was like, it's a waste of time. But this Google Nest that I have right in front of my, I use it as my speaker, because I have normal headphones I use for my computer sound, and so when I'm washing the dishes or in another room, I'm like, "Hey Google, play this song." If I say it too loud, the AI will pick it up. But I'm floored. I'm just like that is there she is. She listens to everything that I say. But I want to talk about free because I think it's a struggle that all businesses, entrepreneurs, and CEOs come to terms with at some point. It's like how much do I price my service or my product, and how come people won't pay what it's worth? And as a salesperson, as a marketer, I spent my whole life learning how to charge as much as possible for whatever it is that I'm selling and feel fine about it. Starting as a young commercial real estate agent, 22 or 23 years old, coming right out of college. In real estate, I don't know where the standard was set, but at some point, the commissions were set at 6%, to the point to where I was trained to scoff at 5% commission. So that's how I hold on. Heating up some water for the tea, so the tea kettle started to yell. So the first time I ever asked for 6%, let's just call it $1 million deal. I'm like, well, that's $60,000, and then I'm splitting half of that with my broker, so it's only 30,000. But let's call the fee that you're charging your client $60,000 when. And I'm saying when this is the first job you've ever had, it sounds like a lot of money. And then throughout my life, and especially playing poker, I don't know why poker, because when you're dealing with real estate, you're dealing with amounts of money more than you could ever encounter on the poker table. For some reason, when you're playing for like pennies, you still care about it in poker. That's why I think poker is such an amazing game. Um, but if this is like the first job I've ever had, like I had never even really had an hourly job, never even been paid 5, 10, $20 an hour at that point. Here I am being told when I sit in front of a client, you ask for 6% and you don't take anything less because you're worth it. That mentality's been drilled into me for a long time, and I've taken it with me across many industries and many things that I've either sold myself or helped my clients or the people that I've worked for help them sell. And so I come down to the topic of free today because I've taken it upon myself to finish a marketing book that always kind of wanted to write, never took it too seriously, been chopping away at it. And now I want to finally complete this marketing book as I officially somewhat wind down my marketing career. As far as marketing, marketing never stops. In terms of like, if you're a person, you're always marketing yourself. Marketing and sales can be used interchangeably. You're always selling yourself, you're always marketing yourself. When we put on clothes, we're marketing ourselves. You can decide whether or not to put on a shirt. I decided not to. For most days, I decide not to. I could decide to do my hair or wear a beanie. I could decide to wear a white shirt or a green shirt or whatever print that I have in my closet. Same goes with pants, your socks, your shoes, your belt, your watch, your colored contacts, your makeup, your lip balm, your lipstick, your makeup. Everything you do to control your appearance, whether it's an online appearance or in-person outwardly appearance, or you change your Facebook profile pic, or you adjust the lighting on a picture you've already taken, or you change an article of clothing or a piece of jewelry. All that is marketing. However you want to define marketing, but marketing and sales, I'm not the first person to say that you're always selling yourself, okay? And let's say you're single and you don't want to remain that way for the rest of your life. Well, that's a huge incentive to present yourself clean, smelling good, good hygiene, as attractive as you can look every day, because you go out, you don't know when you're going to meet Mr. Right or Mr. Wrong outside. So you want to be as presentable as possible. That's marketing, that's sales. So whether you actually own your own business or not, you're always in the business of marketing and sales, whether you know it or not. So it's the concepts don't just start and stop when you start or end a business. The concepts of marketing and sales, of presentation, of conversion rates, they're always there. So, for example, if you're going out trying to meet your significant other, when do conversion rates play in? Do you get a date with every person that you meet? Well, if you do, good for you, because normal people don't play that game. Normal people play with normal conversion rates. So normal people might, and I don't have experience on these apps, but I imagine there's some kind of conversion rate when you're swiping, right? And maybe conversion rates have gone down the more people get on these Tinder apps, right? So maybe you have to swipe 100 times before you get a match. Maybe it's 1,000. I don't know, but let's call it 100 times. So every 100 times you swipe one direction or the other. See, I don't even know which way is which. Let's say 1% of the time, 1 out of 100, you get a match, and that's just a match. That doesn't mean that you go on a date. So how many matches does it take to get a date? Maybe you have to get 10 matches. So if you went through 100 swipes to get one match, but if you go through one match to get, or if you go through 10 dates to get, or 10 matches to get one date, so you have a 1% conversion rate on the first part of the funnel. And if you want 10 dates, right? That means you're gonna have to go through 100 matches, and you're gonna have to go through 1,000 swipes. And if you back it out that way, becomes very methodical, and that's one way people can relieve stress or depression or a whole "why me? I have no control over my life" attitude. Is that on the one hand, yeah, maybe you're sad, you're single, and this can apply to, oh, I don't have enough money or anything in life. But you can try to relieve your own anxiety and depression by backing it out and saying, well, okay, now I know exactly what I need to do to get what I want. I either need to swipe this many pictures, I need to make X number of sales calls to get this many meetings, to get this many closings, or I need to do X amount of work to make X amount of dollars. Or if you're on salary and if you finish all your work, you get to sleep. Probably don't, but now you're working from home. That's entirely likely. If you're only responsible for a certain amount of work for your salary job, finish your work and take a nap. And I'm going to move on to I'm going to go back to the thing that I was talking about originally, which is pricing things for free and the insecurity of actually raising your price to what it should be, and a journey that all creators and entrepreneurs start out with. And I just wanted to talk openly on why I think, I could be wrong, I might be in denial, but why I feel like I wanted to release my marketing book for free, because I struggle with being creative and also being an entrepreneur, because my friend Jerry brought it to my attention yesterday, where he said, "No, Omar, you can do both. Like you're lying to yourself." And it really made me think about it, because I wonder, can I? For me, it's I don't want to say impossible. If for right now, just off the, it feels impossible, because the act of creating is something that comes natural to me. Like when you give a little kid a pile of Legos, and the kid goes in there and just starts building something. The kid might not even know what he's building. He might start off with a wall. He might turn that wall into the Taj Mahal, or he might just build a little tree house with the Legos. I don't know. But you don't have to tell a kid what to do with the Legos. I don't know. I mean, I'm just assuming. I've never given a kid some Legos to play with. I watch TV and stuff. But that's my analogy. Give a kid a box of Legos, and you don't have to give too many instructions. He's going to start building, he's going to start creating. Now, in my life, there's things I like to build and create. When I make a video or when I make a blog, it was what the hell I wanted to talk about and create. I don't have some boss yelling at me and saying, Omar, you need to talk about these 3 topics today. Now, if that were to happen, if some producer were to hire me and say, hey, Omar, I like what you're doing. I like your audience. I like your morning show. I'm going to pay you $100 just to talk for 15 minutes. I'm like, that sounds pretty good. But then he's like, well, I'm going to require you to talk about these topics now. And that might still be fine because I'm like, well, the money's good. But now I have a boss and now I don't get to talk about what I want to talk about. Can I still be creative? Yeah, sure. But I'm being controlled by whatever the producer wants me to talk about because now I'm being employed to talk about certain topics. And that's where I kind of mean that the entrepreneurship steals from my creativity in that even if I start thinking about money, right? Like, call it $1. Let's say I sell a book for $1. Then I'm like, well, I got to sell 1 million copies of this book to make $1 million. And maybe they're like, that's not the point, Omar. You sell it for $1 to get the leads. And I'm like, well, if $1 gets better lead than selling the book for $10, why not just make the book free? You know, that's kind of where my head's at. Why even sell it for $1? I don't know. And some people might say, well, sell it for $20, like the normal price of a book, and see where things lie. If you sell 1,000 copies, that's $20,000. Couldn't you use $20,000? Hell yeah, I could. I could use $20, much less $20,000. But at the end of the day, I want to make $2 billion. You know what? At that point, how many books am I gonna have to write? It's once I start thinking about money, I don't stop thinking about money, and then more questions about money, and all of this does nothing for the book. All of this thought about how much money the book could be worth, how much the money is. The book's not even finished yet. And I'm sitting here thinking about how much to charge for it, a book that nobody might want to read. I don't know. It's not that I don't care. It's not that I couldn't use the money. Instead, I've spent far too long thinking and trying to make money and trying to hustle people for money. And the same analogy is when you help an old lady across the street. Like, are you doing it for her or are you doing it for yourself? Because if you don't help the old lady across the street, will you feel bad about it later? So are you helping her now to avoid bad feelings later? Who knows? And people say I think too much. People aren't wrong. Actually, it's actually a condition of autism to think this deeply into things. And the reason people consider it overthinking is because it's just not something that quote unquote normal people do. And for me, I'm like, well, you're underthinking. You resemble a mentally retarded person to me because you don't think to my degree. That's my perspective. Everyone who thinks that I overthink, I actually think that they underthink. That's my perspective. You ever thought about that? Probably not. And the reason I gotta get out, it's almost 9 a.m. I gotta get on with my boss soon. The ironic thing is that the reason I think I've developed such great writing skills is because I didn't start off knowing how people felt. It's always been a conscious, oh, I'm sorry I offended you, or I didn't know. And then you start thinking about the words that come out of your mouth or the words that you write down. And then you start thinking about what effect or trigger your words have on other people's feelings, how people feel after they read something. Then you start looking at every word that you write in terms of efficiency and effect. Like, well, what does this word make sense? Does this sentence make sense? Does this phrase achieve what I wanted it to achieve? Did it make the reader feel how I wanted them to feel? If they got mad, was that the point of the article? And you start thinking about every single word and period and capitalization and punctuation mark that comes out of your mouth if it helps you achieve your end purpose. Peace out, guys. I don't know how to say happy. It's New Year's Eve today. Have a great last day of 2020. I'd say let's put this year behind us because that's what normal people would say. But I'd say let's never forget 2020. I don't want to put it behind me. I want to keep it in my memory so I remember all the lessons from 2020. See you guys later.